Hi, I want to talk about another foot that most of you would have in your accessory box or you have seen as an optional accessory, and that is the narrow hem foot. These actually have a little scroll that take that rouage of fabric, roll it under so you can stitch, and it can make a very, very tiny, an eighth of an inch, sometimes even narrower than that, machine stitched hem that does not require any pressing, and it doesn't require any pinning, which I think is fantastic. You can even, for some sewing machine manufacturers, get these feet in different widths, so you can make them make narrow hems that are as wide as a quarter of an inch or even narrower. So it's one of my favorite accessory feet because it is so easy to use and it makes me feel so smart. And when I give somebody something that has been hemmed this way, they all say, "Look at that hem, you're such a good sewer." And I say, thank you very much. I have a foot that does it for me. But there are a couple of cautions. One is, I don't use this for napkins. Perhaps I'll do another video at another time about how I do hem napkins with a mitered corner, because these feet really work well for highway sewing when you're doing a straight line. They don't really turn corners very well, and people tell you you can take it out and fold it and redo it, but look, it's messy and it's difficult, and you know I'm only about doing things that are stress-free, so I will do a stress-free napkin at another time. But they're terrific if you are hemming something like a ruffle or a fine edge. Actually, I did one with a dust ruffle. It was amazing. I've just done a little Valentine skirt for one of my grandchildren, and I did a big, hearty, patterny ruffle on the bottom of it, which could be, take a lot of time, but I just fed the fabric through and hemmed it. What I like to do, actually, it's really good for short sleeve cotton summer tops. The hem on the bottom, the hem of the sleeves. But what I do, and this might sound crazy, but it's a great time saver, is I actually will hem those units, either the bottom of the skirt or the sleeve, before I continue with construction, because I know this foot works well when I can work flat. So I do that, and then I will seam it up, usually with something like a French seam to kind of hide the ends of it, and it just makes it so easy. So I'm excited to show this to you, because you're going to look at it and you're going to say, "Oh, I can't believe how simple it is." Okay, let's get started. Okay, here we are at the machine, and we're going to make this lovely narrow hem. There are different feet with different kinds of size of scroll, which will make a hem of a different dimension. This one is about a quarter of an inch. So what is beautiful about it is that I can make it without any pressing or any pinning, and the foot does my work for me. You see, it's a little scroll, it's like a hand, and you just need to just turn the rouage under a little bit, and the foot itself will do that second roll and make the hem actually quite magically. So there are three tricks you have to remember. One is to have a tail, so a thread tail, so you can feed the fabric into the foot. The other one is elevation, hold it up, and hold it orientation a little bit to the right. Those three things will make this foot work. I have to say, though, that as I think I've said in the introduction, that I usually put the narrow hems on a flat piece of fabric and then either cut out the piece, if it's a hem or if it's a bodice, so it would be the sleeve or the hem of a bodice. I do that after I've done the hemming, rather than trying to work with small pieces, because I like to have a little bit of waste at the beginning to help get it into the foot. All right, so first of all, we'll make the tail. So I'm just doing a couple of straight stitches using that foot really as like a conventional foot, just laying the fabric underneath and pulling it through. Cut a fairly long tail of thread here, and this is like a third hand that is going to help you pull it into the foot. See how that works? So really, I have using my left hand to pull the threads to the back, and my right hand I'm just folding the rouage under slightly, and it's in the foot. So once and you see why the little bit of waste at the end, at the beginning, is really helpful. So once I've done that, I'll just reach. I know this is hard to show when I've got my hands in the way, but I can't really do it without my hands. All right, so I'm holding it under a little bit, just the raw edge under a tiny bit, counting on the foot, but to make it easier for the foot to accept the fabric, I'm lifting it up a little bit and a little bit to the right. And that is the trick. So once I've done that, and of course, because I've got to set this up with my hands, I do a little bit of start and stop sewing, but that's not hard to do. And that's it. And this is how they hem miles and miles of beautiful heirloom garments. And I don't think there's any way I could, very few people could, press and pin and get this hem so perfect and so fine. It's just like magic. But it will not work unless you have those three things: the thread tail, lifting it up, and holding it to the right. Okay, and I'll get to the end here. There. I'm done, and it's perfect. And no matter who you are, that's going to make you feel like a genius. All right, thank you.